Welcome to the Trellix Spotlight series. My name is Nick, and I will be your host. Today's session will focus on the data loss prevention, deployment, and upgrade process. This webinar will be recorded. If you prefer not to participate in the recorded session, please feel free to disconnect at this time. A link to today's recorded presentation will be emailed to all registered attendees. This webinar is a brief overview covering common use cases and scenarios regarding this topic. It is not intended to be all-encompassing. If assistance is needed, please contact Trellix Technical Support. If you have questions during the webinar, please type them in the Q&A window. This webinar may run longer or shorter based on your participation, and we recommend asking as many questions as you can to make the most of this series. If the Q&A window is not displayed, click the tab at the bottom of your session window and click on the Q&A icon. We will answer the questions during the final section of this webinar. If you experience any audio issues during the webcast, please drop and attempt to reconnect. Our speakers today are Lakshman and Sarathi. Lakshman is a senior customer success engineer with nearly 6 years of experience in data loss prevention and encryption at Trellix. Sarathi is also a senior customer success engineer with over 6 years of experience in data loss prevention and encryption at Trellix. Ladies and gentlemen, Lakshman and Sarathi.
Thank you, Nick. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar session. In the last webinar of DLP overview, we saw what is DLP and how Trellix DLP solutions execute responses based on policy and rules defined to address the risk of inadvertent or accidental leaks or exposure of sensitive data outside authorized channels. In today's webinar, we show you how to deploy the data loss prevention endpoint product on Windows platforms for the first time, and also provide information on how to best upgrade existing data loss prevention clients to the latest version available. After attending this webinar, you will be able to deploy or upgrade data loss prevention endpoint without any difficulty in any size of Windows environments. The agenda for today's webinar is that there are two parts of deployment. One is server-end deployment, second client-side deployment. The extension check-in and extension upgrade, the DLP client package check-in and client package upgrade, these both are from server-end deployments. And deployment of client package to endpoints, upgrading of client packages on endpoints will constitute the client-side deployment. I will be handling the server-end extension check-in and upgradation part. Sarathi will continue with client-side deployment and upgradation part. Prerequisites for DLP extension check-in. It is always good to have the backup of EPO and DB for any change in the environment. If the DLP solutions is existing already, then we do recommend to have the complete DLP policy backup before any changes. The backup of EPO and DB can be obtained by following KB 66616 and KB 52126. Minimum hardware requirement for both extension and package requires 64-bit CPU with Intel compatible, 2-core processors with 2.8 GHz minimum. But we would recommend 4-core processors for smooth operation. Minimum 8 GB RAM is required for this installation or checking in. However, we do recommend 12 GB RAM. Free hard disk space for this extension requires 800 MB space, but 1 GB will be recommended for smooth checking in. And overall, 20 GB is recommended for both client package and extension checking. Network interface card NIC is required with 100 megabyte speed. First time installation. DLP endpoint extension modules are dependent on the license added in the DLP settings page. Every extension license affects what modules are available in the UI and mode in which the DLP agent will work. There are three DLP licenses: data protection and device control full license. This extension consists of all DLP protection and device control modules. Second one is device control for enterprise extension, which will have all device control rules, including removable storage protection rule, classification module, and will have reduced client configuration policy. Another device control extension, which is for small and medium business, will have three device control rules, mainly plug and play, fixed hard disk, removable storage device rule, with no classification module and will have reduced client configuration policy. Now, coming to the DLP extension, what is a DLP extension? Why and where it is being used? When it will come into picture in the installation of Trellix DLP? How essential it is to manage the client PC from the server? We will see one by one. Trellix DLP, Trellix Data Loss Prevention, is a suite of products deployable and manageable through Trellix on-premises e-policy orchestrator, which enables sharing of common policies and provides incident and case management for network and endpoint data loss prevention products. The Trellix DLP extension is installed on the Trellix on-premises EPO server. It manages the policies and data analysis for all Trellix DLP applications. In fact, it is the starting point for all deployments. Highlight of the Trellix DLP extension is its centralized management. Multiple policies and reusable rule sets offer the ability to define multiple DLP policies across the organization and help us create policies according to office use or departmental requirements, regulation, and many more. Trellix DLP extension on on-premises EPO server hosts the embedded Trellix DLP software and the DLP classification, DLP incident manager, DLP operations, and DLP case management. Classification part, which comes with Trellix DLP extension, is flexible and includes dictionaries, regular expressions and validation algorithms, registered documents, and support for third-party document or file classification solutions. It has a capability to set Microsoft Azure Information Protection, which is called AIP label for data in motion, and to recognize AIP labeled files while the rules are applied to endpoints. Also, there is a flexibility of manual classification. Manual classification empowers users to manually classify documents, which increases employee data protection awareness and reduces administrative burden. For the already managed endpoints, extensions will help apply the modified security policies with the help of Trellix Data Loss Prevention Agent, which is also called Endpoint Agent or Endpoint Client Software. As explained in the agenda, first time installation has two parts in server and deployment. Trellix DLP extension check-in, Trellix DLP client package check-in. However, each of these has two types of deployments again. One is directly from the software catalog to on-premises EPO server. Secondly, downloading it manually from product download site and checking it. Now, let us see the demo part of extension check-in and client package check-in. This is the product download page wherein you will have to enter the grant number obtained at the time of purchasing. The email address also you have to enter at the time of registration. So let us proceed with the same. Once entered, you can select data loss prevention at the right, and you will be seeing all the modules of the data loss prevention. For the demo purpose, I choose the data protection and device control full license and download the extension as well as the package. Since I have already downloaded this extension and package on my on-premises EPO server desktop, let us begin to check in the same. This is the login page of the EPO server. So I go to EPO menu and search for extensions. So here there is an option called as install extension. I shall click on that. You can go to the path where you have downloaded the extensions. And this is the extension package DLP underscore MGMT underscore 11.10.100.zip. This can also be seen in the slide of the first time installation flow. I just click on open and the package has been chosen. I'll just click OK. It is in the process of checking in the extension. So it is recommended to not to do any other activity until this check-in is completed. So you will be able to see this page where you will be able to see the details of the extension that you are checking in. Once you verify this, once you confirm this, you can click OK. It'll approximately take like 2 to 5 minutes, depending upon your EPO response. Okay, now it is checked in. So when you see earlier when checking in, this data protection module was not there. All these options were not available and now it is available. In the same way, let us check in the client package as well. Can go to main repository and can see that the DLP data loss prevention client package is not available. So I shall click on check in the package and you can just leave this default option. Just click on choose file and then select HDLP agent package. Click open and you can just click next So you will be asked for the branch to be selected. So there is a question, what is a branch? Is this is nothing but the folders wherein you will be asked to store the package. Suppose say that you are installing 11.10.100 in the current branch now, and in the later stage or after 1 or 2 months later, you are available with one more package to be checked in, and that will be the upgraded version of this package. Then you can move this currently checked in package to your previous branch and then check in the latest one in the current branch. In the same way, if you wanted to test any other evaluation branch version, you can choose to check evaluation. So it's just for the flexibility of checking in. So you can select the current branch as of now and then click save so that it will get saved in the current branch. So you can see that this is checked in now. Okay. Now let us see the validation part of DLP extension check-in and also the DLP client package check-in from the EPU server. There are 2 to 3 steps that we can follow to validate whether the extension is checked in properly or not, and also for the client package. So when you go to EPO menu, extensions. So here is the extension that I have chose to check in manually. This is how you'll be verifying it here. And always this option where you are able to see and also here the running status should be validated. If in case there is any errors while checking in, or if the extensions are not checked in properly, or if the extensions are corrupted, it will show not running or corrupted, etc. This also can be verified with the Orion logs. Orion logs. So in order to check the installation logs, we recommend to enable the debug Orion for the Orion logs in the on-premises EPO server by following KB 52369. So the Orion logs will be here in the C drive, program files x86, McAfee, ePolicy orchestrator, server logs, Orion logs. So you can just open the Orion logs and search for to see whether the installation logs are correctly there or not. You can see the first line and the last line of the log entry. The first line would be install call for UDLP SRVR 2013. Let us see if this is available. Yes, it is available. So this is the first line for the extension to be called for. And if you just scroll down a bit, so these are all the extension tables that are getting created on the DB side. And you can see here, build is successful. It took 2 minutes and 59 seconds overall. So this is the This is one more verification. Secondly, there is a backend check for this again. So if you just go to the installation directory again, McAfee, oh, server extensions, sorry, McAfee server extensions installed UDLP SRVR 201. You can see this folder 11.10.100. In the same way, you can also check for client package. It is already verified that main repository page you are seeing the data loss prevention package. So let us see once again. So this is the package that we checked in. Data loss prevention 11.10.100 172 the minor version. This current it is checked in with current patch. Second verification is you can see in the Orion logs. So check-in package successful is the keyword that you can use for checking in the, to see the checking in the package. Also, you will have another line where it will show added software package to the list product ID DLP 11.10.1110. That also we can check it out. This is also we can check it out. Okay. For the client package, there is a backend check again, apart from the Orion logs. So we can go to installation directory, McAfee, EPO orchestrator, server. Instead of server, you have to go to the DB, software, current. You can see the list of all the packages stored in current branch here, and you can see DLP current point 110 is stored here, and this is the package which is stored here. In future, after this checking, the same packages will be used for the deployment of client machines. That will be explained by my colleague Sarthi in the later stage. Now, let us see how do we check in the package or extension from software catalog directly. Go to menu, software catalog, and then see if there are any updates available. So I see there are many updates available, including in the data loss prevention tab as well as in the updates tab. So directly you can go to the updates tab and then see if there are any pending updates. So for the extension and I don't see any updates pending. So I can check packages, and from the packages, I see there is a update from the current branch. The checked-in version is 11.10.100 and available version is 11.10.102. So if you select this and then check update, you will be shown an option, as I told you, to move the existing version to the previous branch and then check in the current version to the current branch. So I select this option and then click on update. It may take around 1 or 2 minutes, not more than that. Okay, it is done now, and you can see another update available, but it is not for the current branch, but it is for the previous branch. Since we have moved the existed version to the previous branch, it is again showing the update available, but you can ignore that. How do we verify this? You can again verify it in the main repository. So there are two data loss prevention versions now. One is 11.10.100 and another one is 11.10.102, which is in the current branch and previous version in the previous branch. So there's one verification. And also you will have server task log created for this. Checking. I think check-in one which will show the check-in version. So yeah, you can see that the product downloaded, uh, check-in package successful, etc. in the logs. Thank you. Further, my colleague Sarthi will take you through how to deploy packages to endpoints.
Thank you, Lakshman. Hello, everyone. My name is Sarathi. I'm a senior customer success engineer at Trellix. Today, I'm going to talk about the DLP client installation and the upgrade process. To start with, let's look at the installation or the upgrade workflow. The installation or upgrade of the DLP product can be deployed from EPU server by using the client task. In order to deploy the product from EPU server, the client package should be checked into the master repository. Once the package is checked in, the EPU administrator can create the client task in the EPU console, and the task can be assigned to their desired client systems that are managed by the EPU server. The Trellix agent helps applying the task to the client systems, and the task will get invoked on the endpoints to install or upgrade of the product. To install the DLP product, there are some minimum requirements of the system, such as the processor, RAM memory, and the free space as described in the slide. Moving on to the compatibility check. Before installing or upgrading the DLP endpoint, it's strongly recommended to check the compatibility of the product. As a first thing, we need to make sure the DLP extension installed on the EPU server should be an equal or higher version than the client package that we are going to deploy, which means the lower version of the client package will still be supported by the extension because The extension has the backward compatibility. The Trellix agent version should be a compatible or supported version for DLP. This can be verified in the supported platform KB article, that is KB68147. The last one is Windows OS version. We have different builds and versions of operating system in Windows 10 and Windows 11. The supported OS version can also be verified in the supported platform KB article, that is 68147. In this slide, we are going to see the different types of DLP client installation or the upgrade. The installation or upgrade of the product can be performed through various ways as described in the slide. The most used option is the client task assignment from the EPO console. The client-side deployment can be performed within the EPO console by creating the client task and assigning it to the client systems. With this method, the task can be scheduled as per the customer needs to run on the client systems. This method is a recommended way of installing or upgrading the Trellix products. The next one is Run Client Task Now. Instead of assigning the client task to client systems, the task can be pushed to the systems within the System Tree tab using this method. The task will be assigned to the client systems immediately and it will get executed on the client machines without waiting for the regular agent-server communication interval. The third one is manual installation. Manual installation is usually preferred when the system is in air-gapped environment or when the system is not in the network or not communicating to the EPO console. Also, when there is an issue with the product deployment from EPO server, the manual installation will help isolating whether the issue is with the DLP client package or with the agent server communication. The last one is deployment using third-party tools. DLP product can also be deployed using third-party deployment tools such as SSEM or any other tool. However, we would be recommending our customers to use the client task from EPO for the deployment of all Trellix products. Moving on to the next slide, which talks about the post-installation or upgrade checks. Once the installation or upgrade is complete, we can verify the installation status in the log called DLP agent install.log, which is usually located inside the folder C drive, Windows, temp, McAfee logs. When the installer was executed with the user account manually on the client system, the log gets stored under the local app data of the user profile, then temp folder and McAfee logs. The next check is the DLP service. We need to make sure the DLP service is running after the successful installation of the product. The name of the DLP service is Trellix DLP Endpoint Service. The service is required to be running for the product to get the policies from Trellix agent and also to send the properties of the product back to Trellix agent. So the Trellix agent will be updating it to the EPO server. The third one is the DLP console. The DLP endpoint console can be accessed using Metro icon in the taskbar and under Manage Features. The DLP console is where we usually verify the product details such as the DLP version that is installed on the client machine, DLP agent status, connectivity status of the DLP product, then policy name, lost modified time of the policy and its revision number. The important factor of DLP console is the console will not be visible when we assign Trellix default DLP policy from EPO. The reason behind this is The Trellix default DLP policy has a revision number that is -1. Because it is in the minus value, the policy cannot be applied to the endpoints. So we need to make sure that we are assigning any other policy apart from the default one to get the DLP console on the endpoints. During the course of installation or upgrade of the DLP endpoint, we might encounter with some issues. And here is what we can perform to troubleshoot those issues. The first thing that we can check is the installation log, which I described in the previous slide. When there is an issue during the installation or upgrade of the product, it will get recorded in the log. To ease the log analysis, the simple keyword that we can use to find the error is return value 3. Usually, the error lines gets recorded just above this return value. So we just need to find this keyword in the log and can look at the above lines from there to find the possible cause. In some cases, if the log is not created or if we need more debug logging for further analysis, the following command can be used to enable the verbose logging, which can be shared with the Trellix support for further investigation. Also, there could be some scenarios where antivirus product might be interrupting the installation. In order to identify this, we can use a tool called Process Monitor and can check if any AV handlers are hooking into the installer files. We would be recommending our customers to exclude the DLP product and its process from their antivirus policy. Moving on to the lab to demonstrate on how to create the client task for DLP client installation and deploying it to the endpoints. Logging into my APO console. Going to the main repository to check whether the package is checked in or not. We have already checked in the package, that is DLP 11.10.102 version, into the evaluation branch. Now we can go to the client task catalog and create the client task. The client task catalog, selecting Trellix agent, product deployment, and creating a new task. Let me name the task as DLP 11.10.102 installation. The products and components section, I am selecting the respective version. The action is set to install and it is in the evaluation branch. If you would like to uninstall the DLP product, we can select the action as remove so that the product will be removed on the client machine. Today I'm going to install the DLP product, so I'm selecting the action as install and saving the client task. The client task has been created and this task can now be assigned to the client machines. Going to system tree. This is my client machine where I'm going to deploy the product today. The client task can be assigned to either a single system or to a group. I'm going to assign the task to a single system today. Selecting the system, clicking on Actions, Agent, Edit Task on a single system. We have a button called New Client Task Assignment. Clicking on this assignment button, selecting the product Trellix agent, task type as product deployment, and the task name that we have created now. The schedule type is set to daily by default, and I'm going to change it to run immediately so that the product and the client task will get invoked on the client machine as soon as the agent server communication happens. I'm saving the task now. The client task has been assigned to the client system and it is set to run immediately. Let's move on to the client system, and I'm going to demonstrate on how to do the manual installation on a command prompt using the verbose command. To install the DLP product manually on the client machine, the installer files should be copied to the client machines. I have already downloaded the package and copied it to the client machine here. I'm going to install the product using a command line with the verbose logging. To do that, I'm opening a command prompt. Navigating to this folder on the command prompt. Now selecting the installer file. Here I'm going to give the command to enable the verbose logging, which is /l*b, which is nothing but L for logging and B for verbose. Space, I'm going to give the path for the logging, %temp %/dlp agent install.log and hitting enter. The installation has been started. Let us wait for it to complete. It looks the installation has been completed. Now we can proceed with the post-installation checks. I'm going to make sure I'm clicking on About. Here we can see the DLP product and its revision number 11.10.102. Next, I'm going to check the service of the DLP. Here we can see the DLP endpoint service which is running. So next I'm going to check the DLP endpoint console. Here I don't see the DLP endpoint console in the metro icon. Let us check why. On the EPU console, I'm going to verify the policy which is assigned to this machine. Selecting the machine, clicking on Action, Directory Management, View Assigned Policy. Then selecting the DLP product here, I can see that Trellix default policy is assigned. If we look at the policy, the revision number of the policy is -1, due to which it won't get applied to the client machine. I'm going to modify the policy to this machine. Going to edit policy on a single system, clicking on edit assignment, breaking the inheritance, and selecting a different policy. Now sending the wiki page into the system. Let's go back to the client system and check the DLP endpoint console. On the client system, now going back to the Micro icon, now I could see Manage Features and DLP Endpoint Console. The DLP Endpoint Console, clicking on About tab, here we can see the version of the product installed and the DLP endpoint status. The agent is running in device control and full content protection mode, the connectivity status of the DLP product, and we can see the policy name and its revision number, and the Windows Client Configuration policy name and its revision number. As we installed the product using command line with verbose logging enabled, let us look at the log as well. The log is located under temp folder and the log name is DLP agent install log. Going to bottom of the log, here we can look at the line Trellix DLP endpoint installation completed successfully. Also, we can look at the next line. Here we can see installation success or error status with error code 0, which means the product installation is successful without any error. Let us also try to find the return value 3 keyword. I don't find any keyword called return value 3 because there was no error occurred during the installation and the installation was successful. With this, we conclude the DLP deployment and upgrade process. For any concern, you could always reach out to us. Over to you, Nick.
Thanks, Lakshman and Sarathi. As a reminder for everyone, Trellix Education Services offers exceptional training to go along with our award-winning products. If you would like to learn more, please visit the website listed on your screen to see all of our offerings. Now let's get our Q&A session started. I see we have several questions, but it's not too late to add your question. Please type it in the Q&A window to submit. Additionally, take a moment to fill out the survey. Your feedback and suggestions are always appreciated. What happens when an extension is removed from EPO via the extensions page?
Hi. There is a standard way of removing the extension in case of it's getting corrupted with the help of technical support that we do. And we do have an internal KB for that, and we follow that, and it is usually we will not recommend them to downgrade by removing the higher version of extension. So you're not supposed to remove the extensions. I hope that answers the questions.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Thank you for that one. Can we move the client package between branches after we've checked it into EPO?
Yes, but not directly. So we have to log into the EPO, and then we have to remove the packages which are already checked in from the location where it is stored. And then we have to recheck in the packages in whichever branch that we require. But usually nobody does that. But if it has to be done, yes, we can do it.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Thank you for that one as well. Can we run the DLP 11.6.800 client with an 11.10.100 extension?
Yes, we can run DLP 11.6.800 client with an 11.10.100.8 extension because the extension has the backward compatibility.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Thank you for that one. Is there a KB or process to revert the DLP extension to a previous version if it's corrupted? I think you may have touched on this already, Lakshman.
Yes, so we do have that process in place, but we always recommend to have the higher version of the extension or the latest version of the extension. We do not recommend the extension to be downgraded. So it is not recommended to remove the extensions or downgrade the extensions or revert the extensions to the older version.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Thank you for that one. Is it recommended to reboot the machine after a DLP deployment of 11.10.100?
It's not a mandatory, Nick. So yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Thank you for that one as well. All right, cool. It looks like we've gotten to most of our questions. We have a few questions that have come in that are a bit more specific. What we'll do is we'll collect those questions and reach out to those folks after the session is over. I want to thank everyone for joining today's session, and a big thank you to our speakers, Lakshman and Sarathi. As a reminder, a link to today's recorded presentation will be emailed to all registered attendees. This will conclude today's webinar. Stay safe, everyone.